people seek being present prematurely, unfortunately, sometimes.
Oh, that's interesting.
What do
What
I
do you
say?
mean by that? Yeah.
So yeah, so prematurely, I feel it's when their body, mind, their nervous system is not ready to be present. So their whole experience is pretty much attached to being in the head and
Mm-hmm.
seeking from the head.
Mm-hmm.
But what actually yoga, and I've been blessed to go through the path of yoga, it's been crafted in such a way, especially Patanjali 8 steps. And in retrospect, that's what pretty much what happened here. And it's the first step is really to master concentration.
Hello, Alina. It's so great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Ilona, for having me.
And I know Alina for many years. We kind of started together in this awakening journey, been around with ups and downs and all different angles. And Alina is working with people as an awakening facilitator. She's also working with women specifically. She used to be one of the Scott Killaby's facilitators, but now she's doing her own thing. She's also a birth doula, so many other things. And I'm so excited to share Lena with you today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ilona. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
And since the show is called Awakening Now, I'm asking everyone, what is your definition of awakening?
Mm.
What does it mean to you?
Yes. Well, awakening is okay. So it's when we are able to get curious of what life is truly about and not what we just conditioned to think that life is. So when we get curious, really, or we got so fed up with suffering or chasing ghosts, chasing and grasping on to experiences, awakening is just simply pausing and looking inward, turning inward. And when we're turning inward long enough and stay with it long enough, then what happens? Life consciousness shifts from the perspective of trying to survive life and think of ourselves as trying to solve life with thoughts, emotions, ideas about it, and just landing actually outside of our head and into our bodies and starting to experience life through this present moment. So I feel awakening is this shift from the separate idea about ourselves into the present moment field of existence of who we are.
Beautiful. Yay, out of the head, into the experience, into the now. Here we are.
Yeah, here we are, right?
Here we
It's yeah, it's a simple way of like, yeah, right, being a thought into being the field.
Yeah, because we're so identified with the thinker, the doer, the
Yeah.
manager. But once it's seen that none of that is real, what's real?
Yeah, exactly. That I was saying, get curious. So, what is it that brings you that curiosity? The end of your world, suffering, could be just the actual fact that you've been looking and seeking for too long outside ourselves.
And I know you have been on quite a journey. Wow.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Would you like
It
to
actually
share
never what I
the
thought
pivotal
it was.
moments? Because when,
Uh-huh.
when I read your journey, something that you posted on Facebook, it's like, wow, you've been around. You've done your dues. You met people.
Yeah.
Could you
Yeah.
share a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. So I think I'll start where I didn't even know I was suffering. I just, my coping mechanisms were very, very sweet, positive, sugarcoating kind of my whole experience. But interestingly enough, kind of looking back and then, of course, needing to clear all that suffering later on, because the body keeps the score. Hmm. Later, looking at life in retrospect, I actually understood that there was a lot of darkness in the beginning of my life. So a lot of absence of my mom, separation, immigrations, drugs, alcohol. So a whole journey of trying to find love or belonging in all the wrong places. Um, Obviously, due to, some trauma that later on I found I had to clear out of my system. So as a 6-year-old, I grew up in USSR in Soviet Ukraine, what is now Ukraine. And so being sent away to a sleepaway camps when I was really young in the like kind of communist sleepaway camps with crazy regimes. Anyway, there was an experience that happened to me. I didn't know because I repressed it for so long. And so that experience specifically kind of created a split in my system. It was a very humiliating experience. And that split in my system, I didn't know for many years until, even after awakening, started to clear everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that experience kind of informed a lot of my journey of seeking, as well as the experience of not having the belonging and this close relationship to my mom that meant the whole world to me, and just having more of how to say angry, violent, negative experience growing up with that also put me in a trajectory of that seeking unconditional love that I haven't received. Um, you know, so so the journey, yeah, went through exhaustion, through becoming pregnant at 16, giving birth at 17, being also addicted to heroin at 16, like all the sweet 16s was kind of very, very dark period of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of accumulated suffering. But the beauties, I think, what always was here, and I'm extremely grateful for this kind of gracious gift that I kind of came here with, is like I've never seen none of it as suffering from one end, from one perspective. It's a wonderful coping mechanism and eventually kind of exhausted itself. From another side, it was actually truth because all I've seen experiences is learning curves. I've never seen them as something bad happening to me. So kind of the victim identity was never to hold, but the actual seeking was always there, like seeking for love, seeking for attention, seeking for to be seen, unconsciously so, obviously unconsciously so. And so basically I, been driven by desire and driven by desire of a beautiful, what I say, the American dream. When I came, of course, the immigrations, right? I immigrated to Israel when I was 10 years old, and then from Israel, we went to Canada. So it's like different to contrast to growing up in poverty. So obviously there was this desire for American dream too. For that must be it. That must be
Mm-hmm.
it. That's what life must be all about. And so I had it all. I had a beautiful partner, an entrepreneur, a businessman. I had the amazing car and the beautiful house and the parties and the traveling, all of it was all there. And loving, very loving relationship. And yet we are in two different worlds and can only connect through recreational drugs and parties on the weekends. So unfortunately, it brought about like this deep exhaustion, like literally physical exhaustion to look and to find happiness through drugs,
Mm-hmm.
through alcohol, through sleepless nights. And yeah, my body just couldn't recover for 3 days or so. So at some point when I was almost 27, and so that's when I said, like, well, I have to celebrate my birthday, the 27th birthday, in a completely different way. And I took a yoga class instead.
That is a completely different way.
Yeah. Because yeah, because our house was like the party house. And it was beautiful. It was like beautiful friends, amazing people, but unfortunately, all trying to numb ourselves from the reality of struggling to survive in this world.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and there was some sort of a remembrance. Actually, there was just a deep remembrance of nothing specifically, but just breathing and doing pranayama and stretching. You wouldn't think of anything, but I don't know. I was like on fire with continuing the practice. So I bought books and started meditating and doing asana and meditated. Bought book on meditation and started to really kind of closely following the protocol, so to say. And yeah, and then just it was actually a spontaneous remembrance that happened in one of my meditations about 2 weeks into the practice. And I was chanting the Gayatri mantra. I don't know. It was just like intuitive stuff. It just positioned my attention in my heart and then in my third eye, and then came back to the heart, and boom, it was just this spontaneous remembrance of being beyond body, beyond mind, being the absolute void. This tremendous magnitude. Nothing you can, it's like words like so fail to describe what it was. This spontaneous remembrance of pure darkness, just pure dark void, but it was the homiest feeling ever, without the way to even describe it. And that kind of remembrance saturated an awakening of Kundalini energy,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
later on I found out what it was. But I kind of knew it. And that's why there was also so much terror. It was just so much terror because at that same time, I was reading, I think it was Super Conscious or, or, or Superhuman. Anyway, it was a book by Krishna, um, Gopi Krishna, about his experience of Kundalini awakening. Was a teacher, a guru. Well, not necessarily, never called himself a guru, but he wrote many books in the 60s about Kundalini awakening and his experience, because his experience was very, very um, painful and very, so I was like in so much fear about this experience or what might be happening. So here I was, something was crawling up my spine, and I was extremely, extremely terrified. And there was so much terror. So anyway, I'm not going to go into details of the story, but all that to say, I had to learn how to live with, instead of, and transmute the terror into devotion. And that
Wow.
was
Mm-hmm.
probably my first real lesson there, of surrendering to the intensity of what life or awakening or anything else could be. So
Amazing that
eventually
you
brought.
were given that book at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, there was so much magic. If I start talking about coincidences, you know. So later on, looking for answers, because I couldn't meditate anymore. There was this energy activated in me, and I was always afraid. But something in me just really, really, really wanted to meditate. It's just like I was just on fire. I knew there's something there, like that remembrance, already had its magical influence on me. And so I looked for help. Nobody could kind of help me. I stopped meditating, they told me, and so on. And anyway, so then eventually I found there was a Kriya Yoga center, like an ashram, where I went, and it was initiated into Kriya Yoga, and we learned different practices, different meditations. And it just told me, like, the teacher there said, like, relax, it's all you, so just relax. And I'm like, okay. I thought like he's going to give me the specific technique, how to work with Kundalini energy and so on and so forth. But
Uh-huh.
it was just like, relax. Okay. Another lesson of relaxing. So I kind of slowly started to really learn about what it really means to just be with, allow things as they are. Right. And so I slowly started to, instead of being hijacked by the ego, by the fear, by the grasping, by the contracting, I slowly started to relax and relax and relax more about with this energy, and actually became a devotee of what I later on came to call Kali. So she was chopping all my heads off. And so I had this journey of yoga, really intense practice, and eventually took me to Himalayan yoga tradition of Swami Rama, and years, probably I would say years of practice. And so books were coming from different directions, same book on my lap, and so it just was magical, really journey, because of the dedication, because of the turning the fire within, that the seeking. That's maybe something that is, um, it's like when we're seeking for the sake of gaining an experience, or when we're seeking to, as a longing to unite with, or know reality as it is, as it has like two different ways of, one is as more like, oh, acquiring, the ego wants to acquire experiences more, and this is becomes also a way of seeking. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other, I found, okay, I can use that same energy of desire, and then I can turn it into kind of like aspiration to find the truth. So instead of it being a shadow desire, into an aspiration of and longing to unite and know and be one with. In my case, my mom was absent, so psychology plays out. So here, I found another mother, now this time cosmic mother, to unite with. So so it helped, and it gave the fuel and the fire to continue the journey. Um, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just stop here. And there's, of course, this whole other journey that continued the whole going through it. But yeah, what I want to reflect and maybe bring people to is just, there is there is a way where we can, when where seeking can hijack and just continuously bring us on this merry-go-round, never arriving anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if you have your experience with that. Have you seen people
I
do that?
have seen people, I met people who are over 70 and over 80. Yeah.
Oh,
On this merry-go-round. And I guess the longer you go on that, the more difficult to step off, because there's so much investment in that story.
yeah, yeah.
So what do you recommend? Let's say somebody is stuck for years now, seeking. I want experiences. This experience is not enough, and there's something
Mm-hmm.
else, and this moment is not good enough. What
Mm-hmm.
would you say?
Yeah. For me, I find they're wonderful. Probably they're seeking because they probably had an experience like
Mm-hmm.
we all in the spiritual circles, we probably had a knowing, a satori of some kind. And then I would say, wow, I am so blessed. And I hope people who are hearing this, may they find either a guide or a practice or something where can they start integrating. And when I say, especially when it comes to being present here now, people seek being present prematurely, unfortunately, sometimes.
Oh, that's interesting.
What do
What
I
do you
say?
mean by that? Yeah.
So, yeah. So, prematurely, I feel it's when their body, mind, their nervous system is not ready to be present. So, their whole experience is pretty much attached to being in the head and
Mm-hmm.
seeking from the head.
Mm-hmm.
But what actually yoga, and I've been blessed to go through the path of yoga, it's been crafted in such a way, especially Patanjali 8 steps. And in retrospect, that's what pretty much what happened here. And it's the first step is really to master concentration.
Concentration. Yes. Tell me
Yeah.
about the concentration.
Yeah. So concentration, it's really the first step of being able to be with one thing for a prolonged time. And because especially with technology today and so much information, and our minds are just so busy, constantly jumping, they are not able to be here now. And so if we take into our hands, not necessarily, that's what I'm saying, is the teachers and the retreats and group energy is potent and powerful and needed. And that experience, right, as I'm saying, everyone probably had a support. Now, how do you integrate it? I'm so blessed to be able to sit on that cushion. In my case, my concentration was to concentrating on the inner sound, and then eventually it became concentrated on the mantra I was repeating. But it's building the concentration slowly, slowly. What starts happening, the actual ability to stay present and eventually be absorbed and eventually shift consciousness, because it's like learning how to sleep. It's actually kind of a shift in consciousness to actually be present. It's like it's a different state, like what you were asking me. What is awakening is Turiya. It's like a fourth state. That it's not dreaming, it's not deep sleep. It's it's not the wake state, the regular kind of wake state that is hijacked by thought and absorbed in identity, but it's a different state. So shifting that state, and people looking for that shift, and yet they don't do the homework, they don't practice concentration. And when people don't, what I feel is so powerful, and I think a lot of people that they guide, okay, you cannot just meditate. Maybe if you're the beginning meditator, you need to pay attention to your breath. It's a form of concentration. It's the first step, right? To learn how to be here now and without distraction. So to learn how to be one pointed, and being one pointed is the first steps to actually meditation, eventually absorption, eventually abiding state. So, and I'm not saying for a lot of people it shifts differently, but for the majority of people, we will have to do some sort of a practice to be able to shift out of our monkey mind into a present moment and be okay with just being still.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Yeah. In my words, it's being able to focus. The same thing, right? Being able to focus and at a longer time.
Yes. Yes.
Which means that noise has to be significantly reduced for that clear signal of being here to be to be available, because this is taking all the attention away.
Yeah. And what are we if not attention?
Yes.
So attention, who we are, gets hijacked by all the constant absorption in identity and noise and stories and emotions and all that stuff. So it takes that ability to. So if we look at concentration from like a different perspective, so it's like imagine being, instead of distracted all the time, whatever is your form of concentration or focus, as you're saying, if it's a mantra or if it's a inner sound, it's like a high pitched buzzing sound, kind of like the beginning of tinnitus. It's always there in quiet places. And a lot of people call it the sound of silence. I used to call it the sound of silence or meditation on the sound of silence. But what it does really, you're mastering your mind. Pretty much you're saying, no, thank you. I'm not paying attention here. And what you're saying, like, it's okay. I'm actually going to be here now. I'm actually going to be here now. And every time you get lost again, you pull it back. I'm here now. Get lost again, pull it back. I'm here now. So all you're practicing is actually being present in a focused manner. And then eventually you don't need that. Like it just becomes you master it to a certain degree that you don't need to even do that first, so to say, effort to be present. Right. And but in the beginning, it's extremely important, because if we don't do that, what people, I found a lot of people over the years working with them is just they go and they experience a wonderful opening with a teacher or a group energy, because it's just a collective field, right? And then they think, okay, this is it. Then I can have more of that, and then that's it, and everything will shift. But internally, they didn't have the piece of actually preparing their vessel to be able to be present through that focus you're talking about, through the concentration I'm talking about, through training their nervous system and mastering their mind not to shut up. You're mastering, you can never shut your thoughts forcefully. It's going to be much more noisier. But what you can do is withdraw your attention, what you are, consciousness, out of that noise and say, no, okay, I'm actually going to be in the body, whatever, with the breath. I'm just going to be in the body with the breath, in the body with the breath. Then eventually that builds the capacity to start having those presence experiences independent from the teachers or the retreats or the satsangs and all of that, which is also great. But it's that what takes people on this merry-go-round, because they don't rely on their own power, their own resource, their own ability to biohack their, absorption in the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of the needed part. And I'm so extremely grateful, as you're asking me about my path, that like truly my path kind of allowed me to sit down and master it. And then eventually, actually, interesting tip for whoever doesn't know, there's, if you stay present, like that focus that you're talking about in yogic terms, for 7 to 8 minutes, your consciousness shifts from the ego, horizontal kind of experience of time,
Mm-hmm.
into space, the spaciousness. And it's very actually palpable, but you have to practice to be able to be there for 8 minutes without distraction. So it's a way to shift.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more it started happening, the more there was just absorption meditation again and again and again. And then things like Ramana Maharshi, who was a huge influence, actually the grace that probably shifted everything for me, started to make sense. Like his teachings, I didn't understand. What is Jnana Yoga? I don't understand. Non-duality. What is this? I don't understand. So, and I was trying to understand it from my mind. Like, how can you wake up by understanding something or not understanding something? But then it's just the body came online because of all this practice. Mm-hmm. And then the body, when the body came online, then the resonance was waking itself up, okay, through whatever a couple of lines, you read, and it's just already is recognized that the presence in you that is being already experienced and exercised starts to recognize it and recognize it. And so then it's a whole other, like, I would say even non-duality, or the who am I, what am I, came as such a late last stage on my path, which was 3 years after the initial seeing, in the shift.
Wow, that's so interesting that you're sharing this. Can we talk a little bit about what you're doing now? I see you helping women, you're having these circles, offering some course.
Yes.
Can you tell a little bit about this?
Yes. So I'll give a little bit of a bridge how even what I'm doing came about. So after the shift in permanent abiding state, which happened years ago, probably, I don't know, 2010, then 2011 kind of established. So, 15 years ago. Okay. So what I've noticed that this view, even though established, was so freeing, but not enough. So the actual going into the body and clearing the body that was so repressed and still in that fear and still with that absence of mom, or internally, right? And in that sleepaway camp that at 6 years old, that trauma was still there. So here I was with this huge revelation, and my body was so repressed and my voice was so shut down and so silenced and so muted that I couldn't share anything for quite a while, actually. And so what I found, I went into years of unrepressing myself in somatic work, and the somatically diving into repressed emotions and all the shame I was carrying still unconsciously in my system. And there was a lot of repressed anger. There was a lot of, even within the anger, there was a lot of hurt of being not seen, being not loved, being not wanted. That's my interpretation of my child energy, right? It's not necessarily that, I was not loved, but it's interesting how it plays out, right? And so we don't need big traumas to be traumatized. It's just a reality that the world is intense, and the child is so tender and so open and so vulnerable. And so we pick up things. I would pick up things along the way, and even just a look from a parent that is in a certain with a certain energy can crack our whole system, and I start identifying with there's something wrong with us. So I went into that realm, the human realm, the embodiment realm, the integration on the human level realm. And it was very, very profoundly helpful, intense, beautiful, needed, absolutely needed. And so emerging on the other side, as you were mentioning before, I was working for Scott, mentoring, teaching groups for many years, facilitating. Actually, for about 5 years, I was there. And the last year kind of emerged on my own and embraced my yogi side as well, and all my yogi philosophies and so on. And so created this program right now for women that is called Woman Unbound. And it's to bring women on a journey from repression into soulful expression, and eventually leadership and even financial freedom. It's like an arc, it's a spiral of activation. It's almost like 5 programs within one program that is lifetime entry, lifetime membership. Um, because it takes a commitment. Why lifetime? Because we have so much resistance, because we're so identified with our stories, with our repressed emotions, and so it takes a momentum, a container, and of course a willingness and a readiness and being on that edge. And I actually work with women that done a lot of things, and that's why I talk about a lot about integration. And so they saw all these windows, and they probably acquired, like I did, like this revelation of some kind to bring into the world of form, and yet their bodies are repressed. So here they are, with this aspiration for a different reality for themselves and others. And here they are gifted this gift, and yet their bodies are screaming, still in fear, not willing to kind of come along. And so I have so many women like, oh my gosh, I have this amazing healing ability I want to share, but I cannot, like I can't do this. I tried, and I paid coaches so much money, and I threw away so much money there trying to do it, and I can't. And all of that because I've been through all this journey. I myself paid coaches prematurely before I was able to, unhook from all the repressed energies within myself somatically. So I know what it means to go and try to build a business or try to share your gift with the world without clearing yourself up, or also without, having a solid practice of connection to source, of connection to the field, of being and knowing yourself as the field. Because if you're just a tiny human being, receive the revelation, such a big revelation to hold and to actually share with others without being plugged in to existence itself, it's just never going to work. The world is crazy. Like in the sense of like, it's so loud. There's so much out there. So you can only do it, I feel, when you're backed with truly. I mean, you can burn out, you can become an entrepreneur and continue on the treadmill of, how would I say, trying to prove yourself and success based on deficient identity, because success and fail, like disconnection from life, both, if we're not careful enough to look underneath, it's just deficient identity and repressed emotions. So they're both run on that same fuel, unconscious fuel. So it's like either you burn out or either you stay hidden. So this way, when you actually go somatically to clear yourself up and connect to source, realize yourself as the existence itself, as life itself, then magic happens. Then, moving into the world of form is just, wow, it's a celebration. And I'm not saying there's no challenges with technology and so many other things that we need to learn about. But at the same time, it's just a whole different game, doing what you love, doing what you're meant to do, and no longer having a body that's contracted and trapped in time and identity. And yeah, so this is me, and this is the program I'm offering for women. There's also just free meetings for a community that I offer for men. It's men and women. Perhaps one of the people I trained steps in soon, and maybe we'll open up a program for men as well, led by men. Um, and yeah, I'm really excited. The whole platform is called Soulfire Unbound. So just really unlocking your
That's
soul
beautiful.
fire.
So
Yeah,
can you
and
talk a little bit
yeah.
about what's possible?
Mm.
Because we hear a lot about the negative, how
Mm.
it was. But can you share a little bit how it can be?
Oh my
Since
gosh.
you work with women and you see the transformation and you live with them that transformation, can you
Mm.
share a little bit of the magic that can be?
Yeah, beautiful. And I'm myself discovering the magic right now. Like I'm exactly at that point. And it's actually fascinating when and it takes continuous shedding, and that's why the container is kind of a continuous container that I'm offering women, because you see, like even just stepping into the world of form, um there's all these marketing ways of like egoic marketing ways. So I'm just learning, oh, this doesn't fit me and this doesn't fit me. Because I'm like, I paid like some business mentors and it's amazing. They're amazing. They have amazing value. And yet, when you go into the world of form through real, like support by existence itself, it's like a whole different game. It's very, very different. And so what I found is it's actually a form of resonance. So when women come into clearing themselves, like really deconstructing all the old identities and the fear, the frozen fear and the repression. And so what I find their actual natural talents, if they start paying attention to it, they they become resonant. It's just like they vibrate with a certain frequency. And I didn't, I'm not into like the woo woo or the fluffy spiritual worlds words, but frequency is so real. it's
Yeah, it's
it,
not
it's the
woo,
fabric.
it's
Exactly, it's the
law,
fabric of
right?
existence, right? It's like this is it. And so what I found when women, especially when women come together, and this is something new I'm learning, because yes, I knew ourselves as a field of existence itself. Yes, we're all one on that level. But now I'm discovering that we as women, we're coming together and, we've been burned by generations, for our ability to be this fabric of this magical fabric of creation. It's
Mhm.
just we have that powerful energy. So when we come together, it's very quick that women get, liberated, especially in the frequency of other women. So I have these women's circles and I'm just learning. And it's just fascinating to see yourself in every single one, not just as the field of existence, but as actually each energy manifesting differently. And yet you're all them. And so we are all going through this shedding of the old and really coming into this beautiful blossoming. And through that resonance, as I'm saying, we no longer need to do like egoic marketing. We just can be ourselves and just really radiate, that whatever you love to do. Some love to express with voice. I love writing. I lately started just writing on Facebook and I just have so many comments and so much interest and so on. And it's all you like, oh, okay, want to experience more magic? Come to my free Thursday meetings. Wonderful. And it's just flows and women show up and they say like, oh my gosh, you're the one I was looking for. It's
So,
that magical.
mhm.
It's just so what is possible really? It's kind of like this effortless way of being you unapologetically, and then everything else just divinely orchestrates itself into whatever it is that your mission here on earth at this time is. And it doesn't have to be big. It could be in your family. It could be with your kids. It could be with your partner. It's like it's going to show up differently. in my case, I always felt like I want to be a teacher. Something was in me like, okay, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher. And I love teaching. So, so yeah, anyway, and I was running away from that too. I was running away for a long, long time. And, but then when I said yes, the magic started to happen where there was even a little bit of struggle in the beginning, struggle, how to do it. I don't know how to do it. And then you, as I'm saying, take some ideas of different other mentors and it just doesn't fit. And then it's just like when you surrender, it's like, ah, that's surrender. Remember in the beginning of my journey? It's like, oh, okay, that's surrender. Okay, I know that. And so like, you're just like, take it to the edge and you just let go and surrender. And then you're just held. You're honestly held. And everyone's showing up and people are showing up, opportunities showing up. I just started my program. I'm already filling the second cohort, which is 6 women. And I already filled the first one. There's already half full the second one. It was just like, I was like, what? And everyone is extremely grateful to be there. And the alignment of these women is just like, there they are. There they are. It's like me, few steps before, standing on that edge, having that revelation, and their bodies still screaming from fear of really showing up. And so having the right tools, the right container of we're all gonna just become the nucleus of our own fractals, whatever they're here to share with the world. And so I'm super excited to support women into their blossoming.
So maybe whoever is listening now can still join. The fifth circle or something.
Yes, for sure. We have 4 places still in this particular one small circle, which is directly with me because I trained so many beautiful women previously. And so in the third group is actually going to be the smaller group going to be with my training assistant, and the bigger group, I'm still going to be there. There'll still women will have access to me, but I'll be leading the bigger group at that point. While the smaller group over 10 weeks will be going with a certified and qualified and very trusted assistant of mine.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear. I mean, look at this. What's possible? Yeah. Who knew, right?
Years ago, I'm like, shit, I was so repressed. Oh gosh.
Well, you mentioned word alignment, aligning. Let's talk a little bit about that.
I would love to hear your.
Yeah, I think in this non-duality awakening that there is no self, it's so easy to forget the reality. It kind of can become another concept. But it just means that everything is happening by itself. So everything is still here. The dreams, the heart's desires, the longing, the joy, the happiness, everything's still here. So for me, alignment is like tuning into what I want to experience, tuning into what kind of, how I like to feel, what's blissful, saying yes to that, letting it go, aligning to that, and then watching how it all unfolds. To me, that's alignment. Like recognizing consciously where I want to be, what I want to feel, what I want to experience. And then many things start happening in a mysterious way. People come in, situations come in. It's just like something from beyond saying, oh, come this way. You're aligned. You know.
Oh gosh. Yes to all of that. Yeah, I could totally resonate with where you're saying alignment because that's exactly like it's almost the other side of the perspective of what I was calling resonance. So it's like when you resonate with just you and you clear out everything that is in the way of being you, what that means, if you need to relocate, and like I remember I was trying to kind of just really position myself and trying to find my happiness in Canada, but I couldn't. Like, and there was, of course, I was okay, I was fine, and yet there was something in me that knew that that's not it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I relocated my whole family, and we moved to Mexico, and it was completely different alignment and completely different hell yes to myself, hell yes to this dream, this desire, this bigger picture. It's like what you're talking to when you say in alignment. For me, it's almost like remembering your future. And I know, it's a concept, non-duality, future, and so on, but you're remembering a certain reality that is so true to you. And so for me, it's like this attunement to this sense of knowing what it is, where you are, or what, like, the bigger, vast manifestation of you, like, excited to experience.
Right.
Yeah, it's so fascinating when we are saying yes to that. And sometimes it look to the mind, it will be like, wow, we're challenging a whole, like, we need the whole world to fall apart to put it back itself together again. But sometimes it's that. Sometimes we have to say, um, we have to let something die before true resonance, kind of an alignment, to show up. And then it's just so clear, right? When it's a true yes, then everything, as you're saying, comes and shows up. And then this is just that becomes that beautiful, effortless magic of play, the Leela of life, the play of God.
Mm. Yeah. I think before the journey, or before it even starts, we are run by the past. That's happened, that happened, all the interpretations of the past. That means that's how the future will be. And that needs to clear. So when we awaken, seeing that this is not you, this is not what I am, it's just some old stories running in the head. It's got nothing to do with reality. Then these stories, they need to clear. And then there is more space to be present. And then I see that there is space to dream again. And from that dream, from that direction, because it's just a direction where I want to go. It's like having a pull to the best future, which was not possible when we lived in the past, or from the fear of that past happening again in the future. So the mind is always was thinking, what if the bad things happen? What if? What if? But that what if doesn't need to be bad. It can be, what if? Interesting and amazing. What if amazing things happen? Right?
Well, yeah, so true what you're saying. And I actually right now releasing a mini course on self-sabotage.
Oh,
Exactly that.
that's
Exactly
cool.
addressing that. Because it's these old energies that are constantly, if we don't see them consciously, if we don't dive in to feel into that frozen fear, whatever it is that is, in the way of actually our dream life. And it's pretty much that, again, being, as you're saying, being trapped in time, being trapped in the past. So when we're trapped in the past, we cannot dream the future the way we want it. But actually, we have that power to dream whatever it is we want. And it's just so unlimited. It's so beautiful. Actually, whatever is unfolding for me right now, it's just because, and the more it unfolds, the more gratitude you kind of radiate, that resonance, that radiance that I'm saying. The more gratitude you have, the more it's given. It's just like, it's just
Oh,
expanding horizons. So
yeah.
I'm my next expansion, I'm actually moving to Spain.
Oh, sweet.
Always wanted to be there, but always was like, not for me. Oh, another immigration. Oh no. And it's like I had this trauma almost of immigration because I did so many. And but it's just so beautifully aligning, and everything is just showing up in perfect timing. And it's almost like, instead of moving as an immigrant as I did so many times, now I'm like moving, there's like almost like a red carpet is unfolding in front of
Oh,
me.
wonderful. So lucky.
Yeah, that's feeling.
Cool.
Yeah, right. So
Mm.
that's beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that, because it's always, yeah, we pay a lot of attention to the dark, 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 like the pain, 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 um but it's the anticipation of feeling the pain is more painful than actually going and sitting with those stories and old emotions to liberate them,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. It's the fear of
yeah,
feeling. But if it's safe to feel, don't need to be afraid to feel. Then the fear
yeah,
loses its job, isn't it? It's like fired. Go sit on a bench.
yeah, yeah, beautifully said. And that's what I'm saying, the also the intention of like bringing these three pillars in my work is, yes, the somatic alchemy, manifesting your legacy is another pillar, and embodied wholeness, which is embodied enlightenment, because we can only dive and feel deep fears or emotions when we are plugged and know ourselves as nothing will ever actually touch us or hurt us or wound us, as existence itself, as we're not the story. So from we are not the story, we're the space itself, then we can dive and be the story, and be the space within the story,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and liberate it, so that manifesting your legacy becomes just a joyful play of dreaming our dream life.
Wonderful.
I wanted to ask you, what's your next expansion, dream exploration? Where are you
Oh,
going next?
oh, yeah, I have plans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Anything that's
I'm in the
go ahead.
process of creating courses for
Mm-hmm.
awakening, for deep looking. So just
Mm-hmm.
getting it more accessible for people who
Mm-hmm.
are on the journey and need a lot of focus, because there's so much going on. Like what to look, who to listen, and who's gonna point here if not me. That's my job. To just keep pointing to look in own experience. So I'm creating this platform. So it's just the beginning. I'm at the beginning, but I knew it's coming and everything aligned. So I'm really happy with how it's going. So, so my idea is to just give more support and more help for people who are on this journey, because we all need that. And yes, it's being in that field, in that resonant field with somebody who's been there before. That's support and help. Yeah. And then it can be passed on. The ripples keep going. So my idea is to just make more splashes, more ripples, see what happens.
Beautiful, and so needed, when I didn't have the tools like the deep looking and other things that you're offering. When I didn't have that, I actually was more kind of stuck and not. I've seen, like, because conscious awareness kind of sees things, but they have to be triggered to be seen. Like, it doesn't dive necessarily, because when with deep looking, we ask specific questions, so you immediately bring the unconscious, make the unconscious conscious. So this is so amazing that you're doing that, because I was probably for 5 years hanging around not knowing how to move forward, although there was lots of inner peace, and yet there was this urge to share this with the world, and yet there was all this repression and the trauma that was not allowing me to do that. So it's fascinating, until I found the tools of Scott Kilby. But it's so wonderful and so needed to shortcut our need for suffering, and just to use specific tools and techniques so that we can all live a little bit more uh, with that playfulness.
Yes, to uncover the hidden original software.
Yes.
All these
Yes.
applications have been installed over time, you want it or not,
Yeah.
but now it's got to be uninstalled to
Yeah.
return to the
Yeah.
original software and
Yeah.
get the updates from the source.
Yeah. 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 True. True. So
So we've
true.
been subscribing to all the stuff that is not ours.
Yeah. Yeah. Need a little bit of deprogramming and rebooting, recalibration of the system.
Yeah. And that can
Yeah.
also be fun and joyful and like treasure hunt. It doesn't have to be horrible.
Yeah.
Even though the cleaning up is not pleasant, it doesn't have to be horrible. And know that it's happening and it has to be happening, and yay to that.
Yeah.
It's just changing the whole attitude to what we perceived that it was bad.
Yes.
Like you were lucky, you didn't see that as suffering, but for many people it's not the case.
Yeah. Yes. It's true.
So that needs to be realigned, because we do make mistakes and that's growth. We do have to feel uncomfortable, because through that we get into sweet freedom. And if we run away from that or we try to deny it, we're never gonna get through. So
For sure. And I have worked with some people and myself, including when we actually get to real emotions and real stories that we carry around so that we can release it. I had so many moments where grief actually feels pleasurable, or like lots of anger and release of that anger actually feels blissful. So sometimes and even just feeling fear fully, like fully and without turning away from it, becomes just this beautiful source of immediate presence. So it's so beautiful. We're just like running away. We don't know what, as I'm saying, the anticipation of feeling, the fear of feeling is actually what hijacks our ability to move. Well, of course, finding the right tools, and thank God there's more and more and more of that, more of integration, real integration, not avoiding or bypassing the human experience. And I feel the more we can align with specific tool or technique and just really learn how to catch our resistance to feeling and just be mindful of that. There's tools and techniques in KI and Killer Bee inquiries. There's tools how to deal and catch that resistance so that it no longer hijacks the ability to sit or to inquire or to liberate whatever is in the way of us moving and becoming fully ourselves unapologetically. So,
yay.
yay.
Thank you. It's so sweet to be with you.
Yeah, same here. It's been a wonderful discovery journey.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful to see you unfolding, blossoming, and creating. We're both, I think, in the place of creation.
yes, we are. Okay, do you have any final words, or like whatever is fresh from the field wants to come true?
Let's see. Yeah, I lately love to close with the word curiosity. For me, it's an important kind of word, and so I would like to invite, instead of avoiding your reality, because we're all avoiders. I've been there. I was a master avoider. So instead of avoiding, if you really want to break free, if you really want to tap into your dream life, into your inner freedom, and so instead of avoiding yourself and your reality, whatever you're running away from, probably pain, inner pain, like stop, use it. Like as soon as you feel triggered, like use it as an invitation, as actually grace that is here to call your attention to wake up. So if we can start turning running away into curiosity, to just pause for a second and just like, okay, what am I truly feeling? Like, what am I truly running away from? like this next distraction or the scrolling, whatever it is that you're doing, just stop, pause, and it's just, okay, what am I running away from feeling? Like, or even reverse inquiry, that's Kilby, one of the Kilby amazing tools. Just ask yourself, okay, I'm not afraid of feeling this. Or if I don't scroll, if I don't consume, what would I have to feel? So it's just like simple things. And then that already creates for you a portal. Okay, like, wow, okay, more awareness, more consciousness of what is it you're running away from. So when we get curious about that inner reality that we're running away from, it's fascinating the doors that it can open up. So probably I want to, invite people to get curious, like really get curious. The beauty of getting out of the matrix to the other side and then coming back in with this beautiful, playful openness and complete upgrade of reality is just such a different game. And so get curious what is it that keeps you stuck? What is it that keeps sabotaging, your way of being fulfilled, being more intimate, being more present? So this is kind of important questions to ask. And it all starts with pausing and curiosity.
Okay. Well said. Thank you so much. And how can people find you? If they want to work with you, where should they go?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, right now I have people professionally working on my new website, specifically designed for the program. It will be womanunbound.com, and it's singular, womanunbound.com. So that would be probably the best way, or as Alina Panteleev on Facebook. That's where I'm most active in these days, and I share a lot. Actually, there's going to be a Thursday meeting this coming Thursday, and it's all going to be about shame. And my Thursday meetings are 1 hour. It's somatic inquiry. I lead a group facilitation, diving through this skillful approach to processing into shame this week, particularly. And then
What
the
time
second
zone? I'm
hour.
sorry.
Yeah. It's at the it's a noon 10, like 12:10 p.m. Eastern.
Eastern. Okay.
Eastern. Yeah. And then the second part is more of a meditation transmission, diving into the presence, the field that we all are. So there's always the human part, and there's always the non-dual part. Both
That's
every
so sweet.
Thursday. Mm-hmm.
You are unique.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to so many people through this podcast, luckily. And yeah, you have some very unique qualities. And I'm so sure you can help many, many people, many women and men, doesn't matter. But you have that something in you that, beyond words. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. I just felt it with you. I'm like,
That one. You have that. So if
Thank you
somebody is
so
looking
much.
for, here you go. Come
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Ilona. This is such a pleasure always. Our connections, even though we can not see each other for a long time, every time we see each other, it's like such a beautiful mirroring. So thank you so much for everything you're doing, and this opportunity to be on your channel and to speak to your audience. And I'd love to continue exploring, what it is that you're doing, bringing it also to my developing audience. But
Same here.
yeah.
Cool.
It's wonderful. So let's create more splashes and more ripples
Yes,
and
yes.
see what
Big
happens.
blocks. I'm all up for it.
Yes.
Okay, Alina,
Uh-huh.
thank you so much. And thank you
Yeah.
everyone for watching and for listening. And please contact Alina for the
Mhm.
bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.